The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was released in 1977 and directed by John Lounsbury and Wolfgang Reitherman, and is the 22nd Disney animated feature and is based on the novel by A.A. Milne and serves as a collection of shorts involving Winnie the Pooh, a honey-loving teddy bear who embarks on some eccentric adventures. Guys, I'm excited to finally talk about The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh because this is a character that has meant a lot to me. I grew up on Winnie the Pooh, not necessarily this movie, but the character itself, with movies such as The Search for Christopher Robin, the Tigger movie, the Piglet's Big Movie, watching, The Book of Pooh, watching the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I have been with this character for a very long time, and he's meant so much to me as a child, and even going forward into being an adult. It's a character that has endeared so much through the years that he has basically become a secondary mascot to the Disney company, second only to Mickey Mouse himself. And I think that's really awesome because Winnie the Pooh started out not in this movie, but they adapted the book into a series of shorts throughout the 60s and into the 70s, and eventually compiling a bunch of them together into a singular film. And that said, more or less, because of this was released, obviously, years after Walt Disney had already passed away, but in a way, this is the last film that Walt Disney had any direct involvement in, because he did have involvement in one or two of the shorts that are in this. And so you kind of see the last little bit of Walt Disney in this. And I think that's really kind of amazing. And I think you feel the heart and love that Walt Disney had for a lot of his projects in this in particular. And Winnie the Pooh is one of those films that it's not built on any type of plot. There's not much in the way of story, but there is a whole lot of character and love for these characters. And I would say that the Winnie the Pooh cast is one of the most endearing casts ever put to animation cells. The animation not only is beautiful and very storybook, it is also scratchy in the best Xerox processing way that just brings it to life and makes you feel like you're reading this old story that, you heard as children. And I think that's wonderful. The stories are all very fun, with Pooh and characters finally learning a lesson towards the end, which I think makes it very good for young viewers to watch and even learn from. Pooh is just such an endearing and lovable character, and so is just the entire cast of so many colorful, wonderful characters, from Rabbit, Tigger, Eeyore, Piglet, Owl, Kangaroo, and Christopher Robin. And there's a lot of love that was clearly put into this film, and it's why I feel that it has endeared the test of time, because this feels so timeless in a way that a lot of the other Disney movies that we've been talking about recently just don't have that timeless quality to them that I feel this one does. And something that's also timeless about them is the Sherman Brothers music in particular. The songs in this movie are fantastic, from the opening music itself to the Heffalump song in particular, and obviously Tigger's song. This is just a beautiful movie. It's one of the best animated films I think I have ever seen, and it's just something that's so lighthearted, but it really manages to pull at the heartstrings and make you feel like a child. It has that childhood wonderment of the imagination of one child, in this sense, Christopher Robin, just going on these adventures with his friends. And I think that is why I gravitate towards this movie so much on a deeply emotional level. And in fact, the final moments of this movie will always stick with me when Pooh and Christopher Robin are talking near the brook, and Christopher Robin's just talking to Pooh about having to move on, having to do things and go to school. And I think it's very well done and extremely mature for that kind of conversation. That, you know, you are a child at heart and you're going to have to eventually grow up and do some things that you might not want to, and it can be scary, but there's a beauty in that, a beauty of thinking about just the times when we could just sit around and play and have fun. And I think that's why this movie is so wonderful to watch. I adore all the sequences in this, from the scenes of Pooh trying to use a balloon to climb up into a honey tree to collect honey, or Pooh getting stuck in Rabbit's house, or I really love the sequence with Piglet basically losing his house to Al. And at the very end, Al has lost his house entirely. And Piglet does a very selfless thing by letting Al have his house. And that's a really good moment for that character in particular. The Heffalump scene is also incredibly creative and reminds me a lot of the pink elephant scene all the way back in Dumbo. The animation is just very similar in that way. The abstract imagery and the Sherman Brothers music is absolutely stellar to listen to. But yeah, Winnie the Pooh, I don't know what else there really is to say about this other than it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with this movie. Everything that goes into it is absolute perfection, from the voice casting to the animation to the design of the characters to the story. In fact, this is probably one of the best adaptations of a work that Walt Disney has ever adapted, because it stays true to the original work and adapts it in such a wonderfully and powerful way. I also love little moments too in the film where we have our narration, and the narrator will sometimes interrupt and speak to the characters, and the characters will interact with the narrator. But I also love the clever animated sequences where they are moving from page to page, because the film is shot like a storybook. You are looking at the storybook pages, and characters will move from page to page. We will flip through pages, and I think that's really clever. I think there's just a lot of clever things about the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that makes it stand out from many of the other films of this kind of style that came out specifically during the wartime era, because we were getting films like this where it was shorts compiled together, and this one works because of the episodic nature of the book itself. You are delving in with all of these characters rather than several different stories that are unrelated but might have a similar theme. You are visiting the 100 Acre Wood, and I think it's a great time to be in the 100 Acre Wood. And it's a powerfully done film that has stood the test of time and will be remembered for as long as I am alive, and as long as there are people that love Winnie the Pooh and will cherish this film. So anyway, with all of that said, I'm going to give The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh a 9 out of 10. This is a lovely, lovely film, guys. I have so much love and admiration for it, from its animation to particularly its characters. Winnie the Pooh is just one of the most endearing characters ever put to animation, ever put to film. and he has stuck with me for a very long time. I'm a big fan of this franchise and have stuck with it through many, many years. And I would love to go on and talk about other Winnie the Pooh movies in the future. You know, eventually I will be getting to the sequel of sorts to this movie, Winnie the Pooh, that came out in 2011, but that's a little farther away. But I want to thank you guys for watching this review, and I hope you enjoyed it, because I wanted to do yet another Disney review because I've been a little bit behind on reviews recently, and so this was my chance to catch up a little bit and help out a little bit on the channel by making sure that things are running a little smoother. So next time I hope to have a new review out for something not Disney related, but hopefully that'll come out next week. So anyway, that's all I got for you. So as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and stay positive.